The following is an interview that I conducted with LSU student ticket Energize about the elections. I have preserved their answers in their entirety, but I have voiced over the questions for clarity's sake. First of all, introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, what your platform is.
I'm Joseph Liberto. I'm a sophomore at International Trade and Finance major. I'm in Kappa Sig, where I'm the philanthropy chair. I was the Brotherhood director. I'm from New Orleans, and so in New Orleans, I'm on the executive board for a nonprofit called Hamster Fams. We feed 250 local families a Christmas meal, and I really enjoy doing that.
Hi, I'm Amelia Carman. I'm a sophomore as well, and I'm a construction management major. I am a proud member of the Kappa Delta sorority. Joe and I have been friends since high school. We've kind of been through a lot together in life, and I couldn't imagine someone better to run with. Other than that, in New Orleans, I'm also on a nonprofit called Dancers with a Purpose.
So what's your platform all about?
We really just try to unite campus. I mean, student government can sometimes be intimidating or scary for some people that really don't know the ins and outs of it. And I think that's really just kind of, we're trying to make that a little more accessible to students and just being a little bit more transparent.
As cliche as it sounds, we really just want to energize LSU up and kind of make it more inclusive. I think it's very important that everyone has a seat at the table because we all do pay for student government in our fee bill. So I think it's important that we know where that money's going towards and we push for people to take advantage of that money because why not? We just really want to hold people accountable for their actions. If elected, we want to be held accountable. We want to be as transparent as possible. And we want to be as inclusive as possible. There's a lot of really phenomenal organizations on LSU's campus that do not know all of the options that we have here at LSU and opportunities. Yeah. So I think it's really important that we advocate for them and advocate for students' needs and meet them where they're at.
When students see your ticket on the ballot, what do you want them to think of?
Everyone deserves a seat at a table.
Yeah.
Or even new faces, fresh perspectives.
Yeah, there you go.
That's better. That's better, yeah.
That's our motto. And so I think that kind of just shows I've heard of them. They're all around campus. Oh, they're getting involved in student government now? That's great. Because, I think I've said this earlier. It's just, there's so many great leaders all around campus, but they might not just be involved in student government. And bringing those guys, getting them interconnected in LSU, that can only help the campus out,
Yeah, I think it's crucial that they see, we are new to this. We're not involved in student government, but our new perspectives qualifies us to be involved and to help the students. And we are the average Joes, So I hope when they see our ticket, they see fresh faces, new perspectives.
What are your experiences or qualifications that would make you a good candidate?
I think Amelia just said it, and she just said that the fact that we really don't have any student government experience, that might even...
In college.
In college, of course.
Sorry.
That involves us even more. That qualifies us even more is to be a good student government candidate, president, because just the new faces and the fresh perspectives. Student government, sometimes it can just get stale and get stagnant. It can just get caught up in the student government aspects, not really the student body aspects. And that's what we've been trying to run for, and we've been trying to preach, is that we're not really running to be student government president. We're running to be student body president and be here truly for the students and to make sure the students feel heard, that they feel seen, that they feel welcomed.
We have experience in high school with leadership positions that have prepared us for something of this nature. But again, student government is becoming a cycle almost, and I feel like it's important to have some new faces in there to really, grow it and make it better.
Could you give me an example of a policy that your ticket hopes to implement that you think will enhance student life?
As a woman, I think that women's safety isn't taken as seriously at LSU sometimes. I really think that we need to advocate for the red zone awareness, which is the time for freshmen, the first week of school leading on to Thanksgiving break. Obviously, sexual assault does happen at all times, but I do think it's important to very much so advocate for that time especially. So we want to implement that by kind of fixing the welcome week skit that they do with maybe replacing it with something that would be a little bit more of help. Mandatory dorm meetings to check in, especially since a lot of the dorms now are co-ed floors. It's a lot more easier to happen. Also, one more policy that I'm going to throw in there because I really like it. The Greek...
Council on Greek Relations.
Council on Greek Relations, sorry. Basically, since we are both Greek and we want to include our good friends in it, a council that would bridge kind of student government and Greek together in a way that they would still be two separate entities, but they would work together to improve LSU's campus.
Definitely. To kind of coordinate the good stuff that Greek life does and the good stuff that student government does, and just kind of put them up to the forefront, because Greek life does get a lot of publicity all the time, some good, some bad, and the same thing for student government. Student government gets a lot of publicity sometimes, and I think that having the two kind of balance each other out, kind of be the bridge that unites campus. I mean, two of the biggest, strongest, most powerful organizations on campus working together, with full force ahead. You can't beat that. That just makes for a better LSU. Another policy that I really like is we've been kind of talking to a lot of students about it. A lot of students that we've talked to have been a lot of commuters, and we've been talking about doing like a fluid parking pass. How they have like the residential area parking pass, the Greek life parking pass, and then the commuter parking pass, and then law. We were thinking about doing like a parking pass 5. That would be a fluid parking pass where you'd pay that X amount of dollars to be able to park at any of these spots around campus. Because residents don't really move their car during the day, so there's open spots in those parking lots. But commuters fear getting a ticket. Even some people getting booted, some people getting towed. If the students are willing to pay for the be able to park anywhere, they should have that ability. Especially if the commuters have lots taken away for special days. They don't get an email about maybe because we can't just build parking lots.
Yeah, so, I was about to say the parking is a problem, and it is a long-term problem. It is not going to be fixed in one election. I can tell everyone that, and no one's going to lie to you and tell you that we will fix parking, because we can't physically. But this is a start to alleviating some of the headaches parking gives.
Yeah.
So that's basically our top 3 policies that we both love.
Yeah.
How will you as president and vice president interact with LSU administration, especially when you don't agree with an action or measure that they took?
As long as we keep in mind that, I've said this too in other interviews, like everybody that works on LSU administration, LSU student government, we all have the same goal, and that's just to make LSU better. And I think that as long as we keep that goal in mind, and we keep our emotions in check, I think that would be something that we can it's kind of an honest adult conversation about. I think this is the way to do it. Well, I don't think it's the way to do it because of this, and just kind of have a discussion about it. Just kind of we have a lot of great people around us. And I think that, bringing others to the table, if I'm not knowledgeable about it, or if I can't speak for some other people, I think bringing them to the table, I'm not afraid to do that.
Disagreements are worthy. Great conversations and great outcomes come from them. So I think that if we're willing for compromise and stuff like that, there shouldn't be a problem. And if we're willing to get down to the root and help that person find their thing, we can help them find their thing.
What steps would you as president and as vice president take if other branches of student government do not agree with the way that you interacted with administration?
Yeah, the same way. Just kind of talk to them, explain our reasoning, explain what we can do, what maybe next time we can do. Because, nobody's perfect. If they tell you they are, they're lying to you. And nobody knows all the answers. If they tell you they are, they're lying to you. So I think that, just kind of being open with the other branches and really wanting to get down to the root will solve a lot of those discussions.
I said this in the debate. Politics wouldn't be anything without opinions. That's what the world goes around. So I think it's important that everyone has a voice to voice those opinions and hold us accountable. Mm-hmm. If we're doing something wrong, they let us know, hey, you're doing this wrong. If we get in a disagreement, we get in a disagreement, but at least they're holding us accountable. You can't have a team of yes men. Your branches are there for you, and they're there for their respective branch, and they were elected by the student body. Let's say we're elected by the student body, that means we trust them.
How about with the Louisiana state government?
Yeah, so that's a problem. The only way we can do this is just by putting one, let's start off, we're nonpartisan. We're student government. Our goal is for the students. And we keep hitting that. We keep hitting that point. We're student body president, vice president. Student government stuff will come along the way, and we'll deal with it as it comes. But I think, as long as we remember that we're a nonpartisan organization, then I think that just needs to be at the forefront of thought. And then another thing is just kind of build relations at the Capitol. I think, there's nothing wrong with that. Having just people out there that are, willing to talk to congressmen, and having congressmen that are willing to talk to students,
And naturally, Louisiana government, or politics I should say, are very influential on college campuses because a lot of money does come here and through here. And a lot of LSU students and college students in Louisiana do work for the Capitol. So we would be willing to obviously work with them, hear them out. If anything, we would want to do that because we get a seat at the big dog table. And that's very important to help us with our mission of meeting students where they're at, helping advocate for them, because we are there with the top dogs. And that's really all we can ask for, at that point. And if we disagree, we disagree. If we agree, that's great. If there's conflict, we try to resolve it and compromise.
What do you think about the idea that student government elections are a glorified popularity contest?
She's ready. Come on.
Okay, so this was a big debate in high school. Fun fact. I went to an all-girls high school, so it was a popularity contest. This is far from it. This is who has the best policies for you. Yeah. Who do you think will do the most for you, like meaning the student? It's very important to know that just because you may be a part of a certain organization or part of a certain club does not mean that that's going to carry you. Instagram followers, Instagram likes, they're not real votes at the end of the day. They're great to have to share and do stuff like that, but they're not going to get you the votes. It's all about how you treat people, how you talk to people, how you showcase your policies, how you showcase yourself, how nice you are, who they see you talking to, And I think that goes a long way, and I really wouldn't even say it's a popularity contest because I know this year both campaigns have their own crew people. Mm-hmm. We have Greek, obviously, and they have SG. So I think it's important that, we have our two separate groups, but at the end of the day, we're all kind of working together and we're all mingling no matter what. I think
that's just an example of two of the groups that, of course, there's other groups involved at play always.
I know there's been some debate about how much power the student government has. What role do you see the student government having in representing students?
I think a big thing that we've been hitting on this year has been the PSIF funding, which a lot of organizations have just no clue in which that student government holds. Student government has the ability to fund many events that these organizations really want. KLSU, if they want to have a little ball, y'all do a lot of work, y'all want to have a party, or a ball, of course, in good merit and good, character. Y'all could come to us and talk to us and be like, hey, we raised this amount of money for our fundraiser, and we've been working really hard on it. We just came up with, 4 new podcasts. I think we deserve to have this, but we can't, do it. You could come to us and talk to us about it, and of course, other people would be along the way.
It goes through different wavelengths through that, obviously, naturally, but it's a direct way for students to use some of the money that they're paying to LSU, because a lot of students do pay for their own college tuition, and that's important that they know where it's going to. Mm-hmm. And if they have the opportunity to use it. And I think that's the best thing for us to really sum it up into how we want it to be more for the students, and we want to advocate that more.
And then another thing, one of our policies right now, it's called Ask Energize, as a ticket name. But if we win, and we would change it into Ask LSU, and it would kind of be like a hot link where you could just put your questions, comments, suggestions, and maybe an optional fill in the name, fill in the number, fill in the email, and with any of your questions, comments, suggestions, we'll get back to you on it and kind of tell you why we really like that policy, and we'd love to get that started, but X, Y, and Z's in the way, and just to keep the transparency open and the accountability. A student could do it from their couch.
It's sometimes awkward and uncomfortable to go talk to somebody who you don't know. Not saying SG is powerful, but it is in a sense a position of power. You are elected into it. It's not like you're just given it in a sense. So that can be very intimidating. I know I would never want to go do something like that and ask them, but I do think it's important that we have a way to connect with students on that level.
LSU administration has made a big shift away from the usage of the word diversity in their online materials, leading many to assume that they are not prioritizing equity in ways that they have been in past years. In what way is your ticket looking to represent and support people of color and those in the queer community?
Definitely. That's a great question. I think that's something that definitely needs to be talked about. I think one of our goals is just to try and bolster our staff with a bunch of diverse people that help out, people from different backgrounds, different walks of life. And, we bring this up all the time. Bring them to the table, bring them to the conversation. And then we wouldn't speak for them either. We would put them in positions where they can speak for themselves, because I don't have the experiences that everybody else is going to have. I have my own experiences, and that's what makes me me. Amelia has her experiences, and that's what makes her her.
Our ticket values everyone's opinions. And I'm not saying the other ticket doesn't, but I'm just saying that it's important that we keep that up if elected, that we value people's opinions and that we take a stance to help them and to advocate for them.
Can you talk to me a little about the cases filed against your ticket by Empower?
It was a learning experience.
Yeah, so I think we hit on it earlier. We're new to student government. We really are. We're learning what we've learned. I mean, we're learning, but
we're constantly growing, constantly learning, and that's okay. That is what life is.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was a whirlwind of emotions. What happened was, we were doing stuff that we didn't think was active campaign, and they thought it did. The court found us not guilty.
We trust the court in their decision, and we were happy to learn through that experience, and we reread the code about 5 times after that, just to make sure we weren't doing anything or missing anything.
You talk a lot about Greek life. Why focus on Greek life specifically?
It's because it's what we've experienced. It's what we've been a part of at LSU. I said it even earlier. Greek life does get a lot of publicity, and it's not that they need the new publicity. We've seen that Greek life might have a sort of like disdain maybe sometimes, some people, or a disinterest in student government, and I think it's a way to bridge those two gaps. I mean, I said it earlier, two most powerful groups on campus is SG and Greek life. Bringing those two together and get them on the same page just really makes LSU better. And that's what I'm here for, is just to make LSU better.
I also want to clarify, Greek life doesn't just mean PHC and IFC, it also means NPHC. I think that it's important that we're starting with Greek life because that's what we know and that's what we're used to. But we want everyone to be involved, not just them. I think it's just extremely, this is what we know. This is how we know how to handle it.
During the debate, you were asked about how you would handle a situation where you strongly disagreed with the Louisiana governor. In your response, you brought up the veto for the letter that condemned Governor Jeff Landry. Your response was cut short, but it sounded like you did not agree with President Strong's decision to veto that resolution.
Oh no, that was not what would. No. When I was in the debate, I was going a mile a minute. I mean, come on. I mean that.
Yeah, that was a scary time. Yeah. I think basically we respect
Anna Kate Strong's done an amazing job.
And Gigi Powers. We respect them 100%. Full wholeheartedly back the decisions.
I didn't even know it sounded like that. I
don't even remember that even happening. I'm not even gonna lie. I think I blacked out the entire debate. No,
Bad
I don't
situation.
even. Yeah, I think that we support them in their decisions. I wasn't even aware that was happening. Not gonna lie, until we started working with some people who were involved in the debate and helped out with it, and we learned a lot from them about the situation. I think she personally made the right call.
But again, student government, as long as student government remains nonpartisan, that's the goal. I mean,
right. And I think it was more out of respect that she did that, because at the end of the day, we have to work hand in hand with him.
Yeah.
So I think that she did. I don't want to say it was a good idea or a good thing. I shouldn't say that. I should say it was a smart idea, because we do work hand in hand with them, and there's a lot of things that we will be working with.
Also during that debate, you had mentioned numerous times wanting a better relationship between Greek life and student government. Could you elaborate on the problem areas you see and how you would resolve them?
Everybody I've talked to, they just have no interest in being involved in student government, or just know the ability that student government has on this campus and on a student's day-to-day life and the great stuff that it does. I mean, Greek life uses those scooters all the time. Not a soul knows that student government did that. Broadcasting the great stuff student government does and the great stuff that Greek life does, and just letting each side know about it.
I find student government can sometimes be very secluded. Joe said it perfectly. Student government can sometimes be secluded, and I think that it's important that we
open up that circle.
Yes, thank you.
A huge thank you to Joseph Liberto and Amelia Carman for giving me this interview during the busy campaign season. Don't forget to go vote.
We're energized up.
Woo!